Bow. What's up, everybody? Hey, it's 11 o'clock. It's that time. So, this is YouTube. I'm Galen. This is Culture Drop Live. Previously, tell me more about that, but we switched the name because it makes more sense because we're talking about the content from the Culture Drop episode this week. So, we made a shift. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday already. And it's December already. So we are in a time warp. It's great. But I'm here. This is what we do every week is, Culture Drop Live. So we take the topic from this Thursday's Culture Drop episode, which this week was making other people look good, and then talk about that. Do some Q&A, just have a grand old time together. So as you join in, or if you're here, like, where are you from? Who are you? What company you work for? Give us I always love to see kind of like who's here and say hi. So I know that Jay's here, Emily's here, Carrie's here from a team, which is great. Good. Okay, so this is how we do this. We generally kind of cover this week's episode, this week's topic, and then sort of do some Q&A, talk about that a little bit. Hey, Shauna, what's up? Thanks for joining. And then... after covering that for a little bit, then we kind of like do any kind of Q&A. So something, if whatever other topic kind of comes up about like business teams, culture, anything in the universe that we want to talk about that you have questions about, we can get into. So that's that. That's how we do it. So what we do every week is start with like a poll, because we always do a poll on our Instagram page and our Twitter as well. This week's poll was... my team is split. We're always split on these polls. The question was, are you an eggnog lover or it's nog my jam? That's Carrie. She's the pun master. And I love eggnog. Eggnog lattes, I'm into it. Eggnog is delicious. And eggnog lover won with 54% of give me all the eggnog. 46% said nog my fave. It's what it is. I like eggnog. I think it's delicious. Some people think it's totally gross. Hey, Sky, what's up? Good to have you back. Good to see you. Hello. These are the things. These are the days. Are you guys, Shauna, Sky, what's up? You guys eggnog lovers? Hate eggnog? What's the deal? Why are people so split about it? I think it's delicious and sweet, and you can throw bourbon in it. So who hates that? Cool. So this week's topic was making other people look good, which I think is really important. And I in the video this week in the blog, I was like cut a little like snowflake thing, which was fun. And kind of like the main topics that came up around that this week were, kind of really getting into that topic was kind of around diversity and like the acknowledgement that we're different, that in order for teams to be successful and companies to be successful, that like we have to have a lot of diversity in terms of, not just race and gender and the things that we generally think of top of mind, when we talk about diversity, but like diversity of skills, diversity of, communication style, working style, like lived experiences, job experience, like actual skill sets, communication style. There's so many different elements of kind of like diversity on teams and how important it is for teams to have that. If you have an organization or a team that is incredibly one note, everybody thinks the same, they talk the same, they have the same skill sets, like the same sort of like, that they process information the same way, you're not as strong as a team that is like incredibly diverse, because just that different perspective, that different mindsets, like thinking about problem solving from different perspectives, like all that kind of stuff is really important. So, and I think that like that's sort of an overarching theme of the idea of making other people look good, is that if that is our intention permanently as a coworker, as a colleague, as a leader, like I'm going to have a different mindset, different narratives, different, like I'm going to speak differently about the people that I work with. They'd be like, oh, this person who's, really introverted and they're very like analytical minded and they're an engineer or an accountant. Like if my goal, if my objective is to make them look good, I will tell better narratives about them. Right? It's like this thing to be like, this person is different. It's not better or worse, but just like, how can I make that person look good? And naturally, it's like, I will speak well about them. I'll like, assume good intent, like honor what's different about them instead of like having that sort of like divide us. And I think that just that simple intention of making other people look good, I think is really important in terms of like diversity in action, of just like, what's the behavior behind honoring or embracing diversity. And that's one mindset or sort of like way to put that into a concept that makes sense, which is like, what would you do to make other people look good, which is like to listen to them, speak well about them, like, those kinds of things. Anyways, there's eggnog conversation happening here, and I want to check in here. Shauna's a heck yes. Amelia, yeah, eggnog, right? It's so good. Little rum, boom. Hands down, my mom makes the best hot buttered rum. Yeah, hot buttered rum is delicious. Nay on eggnog, Sky, right? It's always like people are like yes or no. Anyways, it's good. It's great. I love it. It's okay to, any way you feel. It's not bad. It's just different. But yeah, and so like in the blog this week too, I think the three things that I had talked about in terms of like, how do you make people look good, or like what are the actual behaviors, what are ways that you can do that? And I think, one of them is to watch your words. I think watching the way that like we speak about other people, right? Not gossiping, not bad-mouthing people. If you are like speaking about somebody else, use your words to lift them up, or like, right, to be quick to praise people, slow to criticize them. I think that's important. But the way that we speak about other people and the way that we speak to people is very powerful. It's like a huge part of how we connect as human beings. And so I think just like using your words, watching your words, the way you speak about other people is really important, right? If I have something to say that is, that's negative towards you, it's like one of two things. I either need to go solve that issue with you directly instead of complain to somebody else about like this problem that I have with you, or the other reason that I'm talking badly about you to somebody else is just purely to criticize you. And if that is the case, like try doing the thing where you shut your mouth and choose to be like a higher caliber person where you don't criticizing other people to other people. It's like, I think that's a shitty thing to do. And I think it's like pretty rampant as human beings. That was the topic from last week, is like connecting with other people over like making negative bonds. But I think really important to be intentional about that. It's like, if I have something to say just purely in criticism of somebody else, it's like, try shutting it instead of doing that. I think it's important. Can be hard to do. It's tempting, and, the draw to want to criticize and connect with somebody else over criticizing someone that you don't like is strong. But it's like, resist that, be a better person. I think it's important. Another one is like not to stay in conflict with people, which is something that you wouldn't necessarily, I think, immediately draw the line between how do you make other people look good. It's like, don't have static with other people. Like if you have conflict with somebody else, if you have a strained relationship with somebody else at work or whatever, it's like, do your best to attempt to make that better. And I had shared in the blog this week, I'd shared a couple other blogs that we talked about different tools of how to have that conversation. Like one of them is how to deal with a difficult coworker, which I think that blog and video is like really useful. It's like, here's how to approach this. So like, acknowledge this. I have this sort of like semi-strained relationship with somebody else that I work with. They're like some language to like, how do you approach that? How do you have a conversation that's productive, that doesn't make someone feel defensive, that like looks for a way to sort of like improve that relationship? So I think that video is a great reference for this. But not staying in conflict, not having leftover resentments or static between you and other people is another way to make them look good. Because if you have those things with people, you're more likely to criticize, speak poorly about them, have negative, assume negative intent on behalf of that person, and the other things that sort of like in your mind or to other people make them look bad as opposed to making them look good. And yeah, so I don't know. I think important conversations. I think these are all important things to think about. And, I guess the last one that's in there that was in the blog was around like, step in to help, like doing everything you can to prevent somebody else from failing or looking bad. It's like, if you know somebody's struggling, it's like, step in to help them, offer to help. Like that's another way to like, how do you make people look good? It's like, lift them up, help them out when they need it. So, cool. Just some ideas, some thoughts I have. I think it's an important topic. And in work that I do with companies and organizations, it's like, if you can get everyone to embrace that mentality, to be like, one of your number one priorities as an employee here is to like make everyone around you look good, then it's like, how does that appear? How does it show up? It's like when you're talking to customers and clients, like you're never going to badmouth some other department, or like there's so many elements of that. If you just embrace that mentality and think about like, this thing that I'm saying or this way I'm behaving is like, am I making this other person look good, or am I making them look bad? Cool. Which isn't to say that we don't address things that are wrong. If somebody makes a mistake, and it's not about like never addressing something as wrong, or not ever being critical or giving feedback that's negative. It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about how you deal with that, right? It's like your behavior as a result of static, conflict, differences, diversity, those types of things. So anyways, some of my thoughts. I think it's an important topic. that makes for stronger teams and better relationships and, better human beings. So let's see. I don't know. Any thoughts on that? Any like Q&A about stuff that's going on? I have a couple people in my life right now that are in the process of applying for internal promotions at their job, and I think that's always a very interesting topic. So a couple people had come to me. Someone reached out through my Facebook Messenger to be like, "Hey, any tips, advice on like I'm up for this promotion and like what should I say if they ask me my weaknesses and stuff?" So that's a topic I always really love. I love the skill of interviewing better and looking at internal promotions. So I don't know, but anything else on anyone's mind or topics or questions or some Q&A? We just, have time for Q&A. So ask me anything. What do you want to know about my cat? Or I don't know. No one has to have anything. I just, we don't often do a lot of random, like, ask me anything kind of stuff. Usually we're like into the topic and then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been 20 minutes. We got to go. And it's totally fine if no one has anything. I will share. The other things I usually share during Culture Drop Live are Carrie on my team runs the @affirmation destination on Instagram, and they do like different affirmations that are positive and great. This one today is I believe in good things coming, which I think is I think that's really great to be optimistic and positive. I think saying goodbye to 2020, 2021, New Year's, I'm looking forward to that. I know that the new year is going to basically start exactly the same as this year's been, but it still feels good just to like feel like they're moving forward. Sky's question, what are folks doing for, what's EMP? Employees, employee parties, electronic music patrol. I don't know what EMP is. I want to hear more. I guess everyone knows what EMP is, and I don't. You guys, can everyone hear me? My thoughts on what? What's EMP? I'm so curious. Typos. Oh, just for the holiday? I don't know. As soon as we get clarification on your question, I'll answer it. In the meantime, I love you. Cool. What are folks doing for employees for the holiday? Oh, like time and stuff? I think that's the question. Let's see. We're taking the week off of all of Christmas, so the 21st. That whole week we take off, and then the days around New Year's too. So we have, we've got some time off. People are doing stuff. I'm very loosey-goosey when it comes to time off. My policy is like unlimited. We have unlimited PTO, so people can take off whenever they want. I think that's a great policy to have, which is like, if you need time off, just take it. Don't care how much time you have on or off at work. It's all of like for employees for gifts and stuff. So we do this thing every year that is basically for like employee stuff. Part of that around the holidays every year, I dedicate a certain amount of money and say like, you guys have this much money to spend together as a team. My team goes and figures out how they want to spend it, and it usually the caveat is they have to spend some of it on themselves as like a treat, and then the rest of the money has to be for some kind of good cause. So one year we sponsored a family that we knew about that was sort of like under the radar for other kind of social programs that help people in need around the holidays. So we sponsored a family one year. One year we went around to like Winco with like $50 gift cards and just walked up to people that were shopping around Christmas time and like just we're like, here, this is for your groceries, like Merry Christmas, sort of Happy Holidays thing. We've done different things like that. And my team is always lovely to come up with some like social good, how we can make an impact kind of stuff. So that's one thing we do. People get Christmas bonuses and stuff. I don't know. Scott, we usually do a big work family food celebration, but COVID is cramping our partying style. Yeah. COVID definitely for like get-togethers and things is challenging, but cool. I don't know. Those are things. That's what we're doing. All right, guys. I guess let's wrap her up. Let's take her to the end. The one thing I normally do is add like a watch, read, listen thing on this. And there's a movie that I watched this week that it's from like a while ago, but I'd never seen it, which was Fred Claus. It has Vince Vaughn in it. I actually thought it was pretty funny. I'm very usually Christmas movies are like too corny for me, and I also hate Tim Allen. So like finding a Christmas movie that I really like was great. That one was fun. It's a little bit more adult themed than the other ones, and I thought it was fun. But the one I saw last year, it just came up in a conversation today with my team, is like Klaus, the one that it starts with a K. It's animated. I watched that last year at Christmas. It is really sweet. It's really well done. Lovely story. It's not like your traditional kind of like Christmas thing. And for like a holiday movie, I really, really loved it. So highly recommend that if you see it. I think it's on Netflix, but yeah. And Sean was talking about like trying to figure out how to do a gift exchange, drop off on the porch, etc. Yeah. Holiday gathering stuff is challenging this year, but we're figuring it out. So, all right. Cool. Well, you guys, that's about it. I think the ones of you that are here are already part of the Culture Drop, but in case you are not and don't know about what that is, every Tuesday morning, my email list is basically like just a video drop. So a 5-minute video, no longer than that, that has me talking about teams, culture, communication, applying for jobs, firing people, like everything, all things sort of business and teams and employees kind of stuff. So you can sign up for that on my website. We're on, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can subscribe, find me on there, interact and stuff like that. But yeah, you guys are great. I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving, and I know we're getting into the holiday time, so I hope people are like staying safe, staying sane, dealing with families and all the chaos of this year, and elections and blah 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 blah. But I love you. Be good to other people. Be good to yourself. Self-care is still important, even though we've been doing this self-quarantine kind of stuff for a long time. But yeah, you're all lovely and wonderful. I love you guys. Any last thoughts, comments, questions, things that are out there before we wrap this thing up? Eyebrows. I put a lei on my deer head because it's made out of wicker, like a basket. It's funny, but I think people could see that and think that I'm like a redneck who hunts things, and I don't. I love animals. So it's made out of wicker. It's funny, and I put a lei on it so that people don't think I'm serious about killing animals and be like, look at this thing that I killed with a high-powered rifle. Congrats. Anyways. Let's just, all this stuff. Sean, thank you for all the brain break in the day and great convos per usual. Have a fantastic rest of the week. You too. You're wonderful. I love you guys. Sky, thanks for showing up. Amelia, great to see you on here too. You all are wonderful. And we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.